we're good. We're good. We're good. So, okay. So Tawhid, and we're talking about how he's the source. His attributes are the source that we share some of his same attributes, but not in the capacity that he has these attributes. Right. So, like you said, seeing, he's the source of seeing, even though we see, he's the source of seeing. Mercy and things of this nature, he's the most merciful. And we have these, so we have these same attributes that he has. However, he has it at the most, at the complete level, right? At the greatest level. Okay. So then, now going into how he describes himself, would you say, you can say that is that Allah is a spirit? Is he a
No,
spiritual being?
no. He is not a spirit. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is unlike whatever exists in the creation. He is unlike. A spirit is a created thing. Spirit is a created thing. There are other spirits in the world, right? Like spirits. I have a spirit, you have a spirit, and other things have a spirit. The Holy Spirit is a spirit. According to our belief, the Holy Spirit is Angel Gabriel, but according to your belief, that's a different concept. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not a spirit.
So when you okay, so again, you said now he's unlike anything in creation.
Yep.
You said that to say like so he couldn't be an eternal spirit?
No, he is not a spirit. I told you.
So so he's not a spirit. You wouldn't say that he's a spirit because there are things in creation that are spirits, and so therefore he can't be a spirit.
No, spirit is actually a created thing. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives, for example, he's saying my spirit or our spirit or ruhana, that doesn't mean that he is breathing spirit like that. He created the spirit, like the spirit of Allah is like the same, like the camel of Allah. So the spirit of Allah, that is a created thing. That doesn't mean that it refers to the essence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also the camel of Allah.
The speech of Allah is created?
The speech of Allah with the speech of Allah or the kalam of Allah, which cannot be conceivably absent from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is uncreated when he reveals his revealed words like the Quran, like we have on the books, like let me just show you the books here. Here, this is a created thing. It is a created thing, right? It has been revealed in a book and it has been written here. But the point is, the spirit, the kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which cannot be conceivably absent from Allah. So all the attributes which cannot be conceivably absent from Allah, that is they're uncreated.
So the speech of Allah is uncreated.
Yep.
Okay. And so when you talk about spirit is a created thing,
yeah.
Why couldn't Allah just be an eternal, uncreated spirit?
No, he is not spirit.
I'm saying,
why
are you saying that he's not spirit?
Okay, how this question makes sense? For example, if I'm telling you, if I told you, let me just answer first, then I will give you the same example there. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not a spirit. That's period. If you're asking why is he not uncreated spirit, so this question I can apply to your thing. Okay, why did Jesus not reveal himself in the form of an elephant?
No. That's not.
How's that making sense?
It's a false equivocation, my friend. That's not a good analogy.
This is not a question.
So like for example, so you say that he's not spirit. You say he's not spirit.
No, he's not spirit. Period.
You said he's not spirit because a spirit is a created is a part of creation, is a created thing.
Yes, spirits are created things. Spirits are created things. But Allah, the essence of Allah is not a spirit.
Okay, so what would you say he is then?
He's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is unique. I cannot give you the example. That's how much Allah.
Telling me that he's unique and telling me that he's Allah that's begging the question. Like you say Allah is Allah. I say what is Allah? You say Allah is Allah. That's begging the question. So what is Allah?
Necessary existence.
What is that though?
Necessary existence is
saying what his function is doesn't tell me what he is. What when you say Allah, he's not spirit, and obviously you would say he's not physical either, right? So he's neither spiritual nor physical. So what is he?
He's the creator. He is the necessary existence. Necessary existence does not depend. So give me time to to do that. Okay, so necessary existence is the one who has the power, who has the unique will, and who is the source of all creation.
But
And
what
the
is
creation, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
look, I'm not asking for his descriptions or his functions. I'm asking, what is he?
God, he is God.
What is
Necessary existence. Necessary existence. Necessary existence is the one or the thing that he does not depend on anything. He is God, the uncreated being.
is he immaterial?
So I wouldn't say that he is immaterial, but there is immaterial things are existing, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot be compared to the creation. For example, immaterial consciousness, human consciousness is immaterial. Nobody can say where
Correct.
is the human consciousness, right? But
Correct.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot be compared. And that is what it says in the Quran, وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. There is nothing comparable unto him.
This is why I asked you, when you say there's nothing comparable to him, what do you
Yep.
mean by that? Because when you say what you described to me earlier is that we are comparable to him in a way, but not comparable to him in another way. Like, so for example, we're comparable to him in the sense that we share the same attributes that he has, these same descriptions. We have these abilities: mercy,
Only
love,
by name.
sight.
Only by name.
Yes, by
Only
name.
by name.
By name.
Only
But
by name, not by characteristics.
wait, so like this is where it gets confusing for me. So when
What?
when you say Allah sees, what does that
Yeah.
mean?
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the seeing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is uncreated. My seeing is created. My
I'm not
seeing is received. Okay, go
I
ahead.
know you're
Okay.
saying that your seeing is created, his seeing is uncreated, but
Yep.
it is seeing though, right? They're
Yep.
both seeing. One is just eternal, uncreated, one is created. So,
Yes.
so it's the
Yes.
same thing, but just at a greater scale, right?
At a greater scale, uncomparable to me. Uncomparable. Why? I can explain that to you.
No, just
Why
like
is my seeing uncomparable?
no.
Okay,
I'm not
go
asking
ahead.
why. I understand. I understand why, because he's God, he's greater, he's the source. Okay,
Okay,
so
go ahead.
could it be similar to me saying, like, for example, um, my basketball skills are incomparable to Michael Jordan's basketball skills. We both have basketball skills, but his are infinitely greater than my basketball skills. Is it similar to saying something like that?
No, that is not correct, because any person that you are referring to, and if you are changing the name of God, for example, just hear me out, okay? If you're giving the name, another name to God, that is not the correct thing in the first place. If you are saying something which is created, for example, Michael Jordan, another person who is created, then you are comparing yourself, comparing creation with the creation. Then that is correct in that way. So if you're comparing creation with the creation, it is correct. But if you are comparing creation with the creator, that is different. Why? Because a carpenter is not the desk. For example, a carpenter, when he is creating and fashioning and designing the desk, the carpenter does not become the desk, right? The carpenter does not become the desk. Now speaking,
So now what I'm asking. So now
okay,
what I'm asking.
just please hear me out. I want to let you understand the point. The
I
the
understand your
desk
point.
also
That's why.
has,
Mansoor, I understand your point. This is why I can identify that you're not answering what I'm asking. You
okay,
know,
go ahead, please.
I
Go
understand
ahead.
what you're saying. That's why I want you to deal with what I'm asking, please. My question is this: when you say that Allah sees, like for example, He sees, what is that? When you say He sees, does it mean that? Do you understand it as His vision, that He can see, that He sees? It has to do with
Yep.
vision, or is it completely unknowable when you say He
It
sees?
is it is completely uncomparable to human being. For example, whenever you are speaking about the human seeing, you are thinking the same seeing with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also sees the same thing, but that's not good. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot be compared with any type of creation or whatever exists. That is the two different things. And that's why I'm saying again and again to you that the creator cannot be compared with the creation.
So
So the
then,
question,
so
the question
when he communicates these things to you, when he says he sees, he has mercy and things of this nature, these words they really don't mean anything to you because it doesn't mean what you know it means.
that is a language. That is a language. If you're saying, okay, how does that work? And I'm telling you more information because my seeing is created.
I'm not asking how it works. I'm not asking how it works. I'm just simply asking for a relation. If you're saying so, if you're saying that when he sees, when he has mercy, when he loves and things of this nature, that is completely incomparable to what we know as mercy, seeing, and love, then I'm asking, and what do you mean by that? Are you saying that, like, something as simple as seeing, when Allah says he sees all, right? He has the attribute of seeing. Does that mean, like, is it as we understand what seeing is? Like, he can see
Yeah,
all things, he has vision of all things,
the
or
modality.
does it mean something else?
Yeah, the modality of seeing of Allah, that is, we don't know. He sees. He tells us that I see everything, or he sees everything, but he has not defined and given more information. That's how he can see. The modality is not given.
But it is the understanding of seeing, right? What we know what
Yeah,
seeing is, he just
yeah.
does it at a greater capacity.
A greater capacity can be in the creation and also between two creations. Like, for example, you can see and also a snake can see. A snake has, for example, a greater vision, right? He can see, for example, the snake can see a lot of the points, but that can be compared creation with a creation. But the modality equating with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are not working together. Why?
So
Because
I don't hear the difference. Like, that's what I'm trying to. What is the difference? What is the difference between me and a snake seeing, but my seeing is greater than the snake's seeing? How is
no,
that
snake
different?
see. No,
Huh?
no, 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 no.
Yeah. How is
Okay.
that
If you're
different?
comparing,
Or let's say
if
a
you're
person.
comparing, okay, GodLogic, listen to me. If you're comparing two things in the creation, for example, you are seeing with a snake seeing, they are both, for example, in the creation, they are both created. One has the greater ability to see things, like snake can see greater sight than yours. But now coming and comparing that with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the seeing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the modality has not been given. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that I can see, and that's over there.
What do you mean it's over?
It's over. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees, and all the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot be compared. And this is why I'm telling you again and again that Allah cannot be compared.
You stole files from our computer. Just tell me what you've learned.
Topically applied fluoride doesn't prevent tooth decay. It does render teeth detectable by spy satellite.
Tell me what you know.
The plastic tips at the ends of shoelaces are called aglets. Their true purpose is sinister.
With his essence.
But you saying that, like, it's not communicating anything to me. So when Allah sees, is that what I understand as seeing? He just does it better.
Yeah, but the modality, I told you several times, the modality is not given.
Okay.
How
So
Allah subhanahu, we don't know that.
when you say the modality is not given, meaning how he sees, you don't know, right? Like,
Yeah, I don't know about that.
You don't
That
know if
is
he
not given.
you don't know if he sees through eyes or if it's just like some type of power that he has or whatever. But he sees. He has vision.
Yeah.
He has some type of vision, and his vision is greater than our vision, right?
That is uncreated and different from ours.
Right, but it's still vision. It's different from our vision, but it's vision
Yeah.
altogether.
Yeah, but if that is a vision like the creation, that is different.
Got it. So,
Yep.
so when you say it's a vision, it's vision like creation has vision, but his type of vision is different from our vision.
Guys, folks, everyone, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator. His seeing, his attributes are not like the same as the human beings or the everything.
But it is,
like that exists.
but it is,
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the original.
right?
He's uncreated. The things are created.
This is what I'm trying to get to. This is what I'm trying to get to. Because I'm trying to understand, to see even if the God of Islam, that concept is understandable. Right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. It's simple. So when you say this, Allah describes himself, he sees, he has mercy and things of this nature, that these are things that we understand them to be. He just has a different way of, as a greater scale. That's all really it is.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the greatest. That all his attributes are belonging to him alone, right? The ability of creating things.
So he is like
uncreated ability.
So
Go
he
ahead.
is, so he is like us in the way that he has the same. We have the same attributes that he does,
I
but
told you only by
he's
name.
not like us in that his attributes are just at a greater scale.
And hear me out. I explained this several times to you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is uncreated. His attributes are uncreated. We are created. Our attributes are created. So there is quite a big difference.
I know.
Created and
But
uncreated, two different things.
I know that, but he has mercy and I have mercy, right?
Yeah, that is created. Your mercy is created, but his mercy is not created.
I know, but we both have mercy, right?
Yeah, you need,
Okay,
if the next question is how is that different, and I would tell you that your mercy is created, his mercy is not created.
it's just if we both have mercy, then in some ways I am relatable to Allah, that we have the same attribute, just that his is uncreated and his is unlimited, mine is limited. That's all you're saying. So he is relatable to creation in some way.
Limited, yeah, in some essence, the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this world is for everyone. But in the hereafter,
that's a good word.
in the hereafter, yeah, in the hereafter, that is okay.
So there's we have commonality with Allah, right?
That is only by name. Yes, we have commonalities with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is by name. And what are by other points? The points is, the most important point is that all our attributes, I say it again, created, the attributes of Allah uncreated.
Okay, so there is commonality, there is relatability.
By name.
Okay,
by
so
name. That's a language.
So when you say, for example, now talking about him still, I ask, is he immaterial or is he material, physical?
Well, no, he is not, because material and immaterial things are, like, for example, in the creation. And I told you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot be compared.
He has to be one or the other.
Yeah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not compared, it cannot be compared to any other thing in the creation. For example, my body.
But we just compared him to us.
So here's the thing. I'm going to explain this again to you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for example, our consciousness is immaterial. Our body is material. So can I compare Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with my consciousness? No.
Is Allah immaterial?
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not compared to his creation.
Is he material or is he immaterial? He has to be one or the other.
So if you are using the language that he is not immaterial, then that's in a linguistic way. You can use immaterial, but the point is that he cannot be compared with any human creation, with his essence.
So ontologically, Allah is immaterial, correct?
Immaterial, and in a linguistic way. If you're comfortable with that language, so I will tell you that.
Well, I mean, it's either he's immaterial or he's physical. Those are the two.
I told you that. I told you that if you're saying, for example, that our consciousness is immaterial, my body is material, can Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be compared immaterial in a sense to my consciousness? I'm saying no. If you're saying can he become, hold on, because he is the creator, and I told you, I don't know whether you're not grasping it or my language is not that good, and I'm telling you over and over again and again that he cannot be compared with any way, shape, or form with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But whenever you are using language, a language is different. Yeah. And I'm also granting you that thing. For example, hold on. I'm also granting you that.
When you say these things, it's like you're not communicating anything to me. So it's as if Allah is completely unknowable. He's completely unknowable and completely unrelated. You don't know what he is. You don't know when he says he has these things, these attributes and stuff like that, and uses these words that we understand, really, but he doesn't mean it in the way that we know it. So he's not really saying anything to us. You don't know anything about Allah. So like when you say, I'm asking like something like as simple as, is your God material or is he immaterial? The easiest answer, it should have been, yeah, he's immaterial. But because other things in creation are immaterial, you have a struggle with answering this, because then that would make him similar to created things that are immaterial. You know what I'm saying? So this concept, it's not practical.
Bro, I know that you didn't know the point. I told you many times, and also again, if you ask me several times more, and this is my answer, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot be compared with the creation. Again, in the creation, I have immaterial things like consciousness. In the creation, I have things like my body. But the creator cannot be compared both with my immaterial or material things. But if you're saying use a language, so I'm going to use a language, then okay, you're saying he's immaterial. That if you're comfortable understanding the point, then I'm telling you immaterial. Go ahead.
Okay, so we know what immaterial, like these words have meanings,
Yep.
right? So we know what immaterial means. It means non-physical, non-material. You can't feel it, touch it, see it with your senses. You can't grasp it or observe it with your physical senses. It's immaterial,
Yep.
right? But so that's the same with Allah. Allah, you can't see him, touch him, feel him, smell him. You can't observe him with your physical senses and your physical reality.
Yes.
Therefore, he also is immaterial. Just like just like my mind is immaterial, just like the laws of logic are immaterial and concepts and things of this nature. So we can make certain comparisons and relations to Allah. He has commonality with creation.
Yep.
So
Commonalities in a linguistic form. Still, the commonalities
what do you mean by in a linguistic form? Because these meanings are applied to these concepts, like they have actual meaning. So Allah is immaterial in the same sense that my mind is immaterial.
Yeah. So in a linguistic way that I'm telling you, that is, for example, I explained that to you again. If you have a pen and paper, you can write it down. I think you can write it down again and again. It's just going.
I understand what you're saying, but it does.
It's coming like this.
No,
it's coming
because
to your head.
I understand everything you're saying, Omar. Just what you're saying is not practical. This is why you're like when I ask is he immaterial, you say, well, in a linguistic form. What is it? What the heck does that mean? That means nothing. Are you
why it doesn't mean anything?
Because it has a meaning. It has a meaning.
It has a meaning.
So your mind is immaterial.
My mind, my consciousness is immaterial.
Yeah, your consciousness is immaterial.
Yeah.
Allah is also immaterial.
Yeah, but that cannot be compared both, because one is the creator. My consciousness is my consciousness is created, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is uncreated. But
they can be compared. They can be compared in the sense that they are both immaterial. So there's
in a language, using a language,
using the meaning of the word.
Yeah, using a language.
Okay, is that so both immaterial? So okay. So
now going to the essence. Now going to the essence and characteristics. My consciousness is created, and Allah is uncreated.
I got you. Are angels immaterial?
Angels, they're material and also immaterial. For example, they can change form. They can appear in a human being, right? Like a human form. But still, they are created.
Can Allah do that? Can Allah do that?
No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes like a human being, then he is God and not God at the same time, like your God is. Like, for example, let me just give you an example. That is logically impossible, because God, uniquely one God, if he becomes a human being, then he is created and uncreated at the same time. He is knowing and not all knowing at the same time. He is, for example, dependent and independent at the same time, which like hypostatic union is, which is a contradiction in your hand.
So wait, so an angel
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not go against what logically cannot be done. For example, God cannot be created. That's a common sense.
I got you.
Yeah,
so an angel can take look, you answered the question. So an angel can take on the form of a human.
Yes, still created.
When the angel appears in human form, does he become human, or is he still?
No. But the same thing. The same thing is
so it doesn't take on the nature of a human.
Hold on. So when when speaking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is uncreated. The angel is created.
So
the angel is the angel is created. The angel has the same knowledge, the same thing, the same attributes, but changing a form. The angel is still a created thing, but changed the form. Like the jinn.
The angel has the same attributes as a human?
No, I didn't say that.
Okay. So when an angel takes on a human form, do they become a human, or are they still an angel?
Change in form. Only change form.
But they're still an angel.
Yeah.
So they don't become human, they just appear as a human.
Yeah, they become as a human being. They appear as a human being.
We said
Changing the form of shape. They don't become a human being.
Okay, good.
Human being,
Okay.
yeah.
Understood. Okay. So angels can appear in human form without becoming human. Can Allah appear in human form without becoming human?
On the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will empower us to see him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not.
Just remember the 5 D's of dodgeball. Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
No, that's the thing. That's the thing that is mentioned in Quran. And Surah, look, pay attention. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make us see him on the day of judgment. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not become a human being. Bro, come on, this is the answer for your question. Look. Here's the thing. Hear me out, please. Okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will empower us to see him on the day of judgment. He will not change to a human being. He will not change his form. He will not change to anything. That's the point.
Sure.
He will empower us. That is mentioned in Surah Al-Qiyamah, that ila Rabbi nazira. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will be looking at their Lord. That is, we will see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
So you don't know that Allah takes on a shape?
Excuse me, what's the question? I'm not understanding your point. What do you mean?
That Allah takes on the shape?
No, that belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How he does that, that's belonging to that day, not revealed.
I didn't say how he does it. I said, did you know that Allah will take on a shape?
A shape?
Yes.
So no, that's not how it works. There is only one example. The companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "You will see your Lord, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." And he was pointing out to the moon. That can you see? Yeah, can you see the moon? Do you have any difficulty? And they said no. And he equated the example like a way to let them understand that you
see Allah as clearly as you see the moon, as clearly as you see the sun. You'll see Allah. You'll see your Lord.
Yep.
And then I have that hadith right here. It's Sahih al-Bukhari 7439. And then it says, hold on, let me read up a little bit.
The Arabic says shay. Oh, you know the hadith, Umar? Okay, that's fine. Thank you so much, Umar. The Arabic doesn't say shape. It says form.
It says what?
Says form.
Yeah,
the Arabic says form.
Well, actually, the Arabic is actually image, to be more precise. It's image, but I'm cool with that because they're all interchangeable. Okay. Shape, form, image. So Allah will appear in a form.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will let us see him. And what's befitting his majesty, right?
But it's not just that.
What is befitting his majesty?
But it's not just that. He appears in a form.
In a form, correct.
And it says that in a form that they recognize.
What is befitting his majesty?
No problem. But it says that the form that they recognize.
Yeah. That is what is befitting his majesty. And also the true believers, the mu'mins, the Muslims, inshallah, with the Christians become Muslims, they will also see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that form, what is befitting his majesty.
I got you. So they will be seeing Allah in a form, though, that they recognize. How is it that these Muslims or these people, because also it's the hypocrites too, it's not just the believers, but it's also the hypocrites that's with them, that they will see Allah in a form that they recognize.
Befitting his majesty.
I'm sorry?
What is befitting his majesty?
No problem. How is it that that creation, these humans, will see Allah in a form and that they recognize this form?
Yeah, what is befitting his majesty? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give the power in order to let them understand their Lord and how he befits his majesty. They will see Allah.
How is it that the humans recognize this form?
How? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants the power to the human beings. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give the power to see him, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will introduce how is
No,
befitting.
but it says it has nothing to do with God giving them power. It has everything to do with their comprehension and what they recognize and what they don't. Because
Yeah, it's
so how is it that they will recognize this? So to recognize means that there's something in your mind that you're familiar with. When you
and so
recognize
Allah
something,
subhanahu wa
it's
ta'ala
something
will give
that you're
power.
familiar with.
The people will not be without knowledge, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised his meeting with the creation, with the human beings. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will allow the human beings, and he will empower, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give the knowledge to them to understand their creator.
But it doesn't
And
say
that
that.
form,
It doesn't say that. It doesn't say anything about him giving them enlightenment or
so
like
how
some type of revelation.
they would understand him
It just says
without
that
the knowledge?
it just says that Allah will come to them in a form that they recognize.
Yeah, so they recognize, so they have the understanding, right? They will understand, and that's
recognize the
depending on the
form.
knowledge.
No, they recognize the form.
Yeah, so recognizing something is dependent on the knowledge. If you don't have the knowledge,
Right.
if you don't have the knowledge,
How do they have the knowledge of this form that Allah is coming in if Allah is completely unlike creation and completely other than, to where there's nothing that they can even recognize when it comes to Allah? How is it then that he's coming to them in a form that they recognize?
in a form, they will have the knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will empower them. Another point, empowering them, giving.
It doesn't say that.
Bro, how they will understand him? It is definitely when they understand and recognize Allah, they will have that knowledge.
I'll tell you how. According to the hadith, right? Because you were right about the beginning. According to the hadith, they will see Allah as clearly and as easily as they see the sun and the moon and the stars. That's what Muhammad says. And then he continues, right? Reading down further, says Allah will come to them in a shape or form, whatever word you want to use, or image. That
shape is different thing. Shape is different. Shape is not the form. Like for example,
it is. It's shape. Right here it says shape. In the Arabic,
form,
wants to say form
will be the right word. Form will be the right word. And also
they translate it as shape here.
Yeah, in multiple stages on a day of resurrection, we'd have seen him the first time. For example, when we are meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there will be no difficulty, because when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was telling to the Muslims and to his companions that you will have no problem seeing the Creator. You will see. Can you see this moon? They said yes. So you will have no difficulty understanding him. That is very easy. So on the day of resurrection, we will see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a form which is how he reveals himself. How he reveals himself to us. And that form befitting. But the point is,
here's my question. But here's my question with that. When he reveals himself in a form, right, on the day of resurrection, is that a form that they've seen before?
So I'm not sure about that, but for the first time, that would be for the first time. That's common sense. But I have seen the hadith as well. Hold on. Here is Omar is telling me, look, we would have already seen him. Let me just read the. So I'll correct the point. I'm not. I just don't want to say the wrong thing. Somebody else muted Omar.
I'm here.
Who muted Omar? Okay.
Nobody's muted.
Yeah, that would be the first time.
Well, no. Actually, it's the second time. So you have here, like, so for example, Allah appears twice to them. He shows up twice. It says here, it says.
Like if we have seen him for the first time.
No, let me finish. So the hadith, so you know, it's Sahih Bukhari 6573.
Okay, I want to just see it. Okay.
Yeah. So it says that Allah will come to them in a shape other than they know. Right? And they will say, and Allah will say, I am your Lord. Okay. They will say, we seek refuge with Allah from you. Because Allah appeared to them in a shape, in a form that's unrecognizable to them. They don't know it. So they seek refuge.
Okay.
Right? Then it says, this is our place till our Lord comes to us. And when our Lord comes to us, we will recognize him. Then Allah will come to them in a shape they do know, and will say, I am your Lord. They will say, no doubt you are our Lord, and they will follow him. So he appears to them twice. The first time, they don't recognize him. It's a form, it's a shape that they don't know, that they don't recognize, and so they reject him. But then he comes to them a second time in a form that is recognizable to them, and so they accept him. They say, yes, you are our Lord, right? So my question is, one, how is it that they're able to recognize this? How do they know this form, this shape?
Yeah, can you
that
please
Allah is
give me the
appearing in?
reference? I want to check the reference, then I want to answer the question. Okay, give me the reference.
It's Sahih Bukhari,
Bukhari
6573.
65. What?
73.
73. Okay, let me just read it. Okay, that's quite a big hadith.
Yeah, it's long.
Wow, that's a very big hadith. Yeah. Okay,
You gotta go like kind of in like a little bit in the middle. You'll see where it says like
saying the
it
prophet
talks about they used to worship the sun, they used to worship the moon, they used to worship the false deities. It'll say that. Go right after that part.
Then the second time, then the second meeting, they will recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what's the point there?
So my question is, how are they recognizing the form that Allah appears in?
So in the first time, they will not understand him. The second time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will also empower them to recognize him.
Well, it's not no, because it doesn't say that. It's not that they don't understand him. It's that they don't recognize him.
This is the
They're
second
not familiar with how he appears.
Yes, for the first time,
Yeah,
no, but the second time, yes.
No, Mansoor, listen. Mansoor, listen. So we're not talking about perception. We're not talking about, understanding, right? Enlightenment. The hadith simply says that Allah came to them in a form that they did not recognize.
Yeah,
right?
the first time. The first time. So multiple stages.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
so he appears
stages.
twice.
One is the first time,
right.
second is the second time, right?
Right. And so the second time he appears in a form that they do recognize. So the hadith says nothing about Allah giving them power to be enlightened or to see him and stuff like that. It has nothing to do with that. He is simply appearing to them in particular forms, one that they don't recognize, one that they do recognize. So my question is, how do these humans who have never seen Allah before, right? They've never seen him before, none of that. This first, they never seen him before. How do they recognize his form, this form that he appears in?
Yeah, so there are multiple stages. One is the first stage, another is the second stage. So we would have already seen him.
And not recognized him.
Yeah, so
you would have seen him and not recognized him.
Yeah, is that too hard to understand? So multiple stages. One is the first stage, another is the second stage.
We already agreed there. My question is this. My question is, when he appears the second time in a form that they do recognize, how do they recognize this form if they've never seen it before?
So the point of the matter there would be that we would have seen him for the second time. Multiple stages, first time, second time. Another point is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will also give the power to them. And as the Quran also says that
where are you getting this from, that he gives them the power to recognize the form? Where do you see this in the hadith?
Yeah, it is not mentioned in the hadith, but the main point is that's how we would understand. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not empower us, how we would even exist. All the things which are happening. Okay, can I finish?
I mean, yes, but you're making stuff up.
Yeah, so how can I? The point is that the first event is, okay, Omar, I see your comment. Let me just read Omar's comment as well. We would recognize him because we already saw him in the image previously. I am saying this again to him, bro. I'm telling him again and again. So the first time, what is the first time?
Mansoor,
this is what the hadith is saying, bro.
Mansoor, watch how this doesn't work. He said you'll recognize him because you saw the previous image, right?
Yep.
The previous image they did not recognize.
Yeah, the first time not. The hadith is saying the first time not.
They don't know.
But multiple stages other times.
Pause.
Okay, go ahead.
He appears to them in the first form and it's a form that they don't recognize, correct?
The hadith is saying the first time they will not.
Okay. So the second time he appears in another form.
Logic, bro, please make my screen bigger. I want to show the hadith to everyone.
Okay.
Make my screen bigger.
But the second time, he shows up in a form that they do recognize, right? So there's two forms that he shows up in, correct?
Let's read the hadith.
We already did. There's two forms that he appears in, right?
Let's read the hadith. This is the hadith. Everybody
brother. We already read the top of it. Let's talk about now the relevant part that we're talking about.
Okay, sure.
Where Allah
let's
appears
give
twice.
the exact information, bro. If you're saying that, how does that happen? I'm telling you that is multiple times. The hadith is saying, look. So some of the people said, Allah's messenger.
Mansoor, please, for the sake of this discussion, bro, for the sake of the time, we do not need to read the top of it.
I have to. Bro, I have to read it for you.
You already read it, and I have it right here in front of me. You already read it out, so you don't have to read it again. Only focus on the part that I'm asking you about. The part that I'm asking you about, Mansoor, the part that I'm asking you about is the two times he appears. Okay?
Can I read the hadith for you? Or not?
No. Focus
Why not?
Focus on the part I'm asking you, because I'm asking you a question.
Why not? I'm going to read the hadith to you, bro. Okay. Because your whole point.
Mansoor, focus on what I'm asking you. The first time he appears, it's a shape, it's a form that they don't recognize, correct?
The first time of the hadith is saying it would be, and simply the hadith is saying image that we recognize
come to them in a form other than they know, correct?
I'm not repeating this again and again. Several times here, 531 people. I'm repeating this again and again.
No, Mansoor, you're not answering my question, bro. Just deal with my question, please, for the sake of the discussion. I'm asking you something super specific.
Come on, Logic. Come on.
I'm asking you something very specific, bro.
Come on.
So based on the first thing, I'm losing my voice now. When Allah appears the first time, it's a shape, it's a form that they did not recognize the first time, right?
Yes.
Okay. Then he shows up in another form that they do recognize, correct?
No, that is not how it works. The next time, Allah subhanahu, we would have seen him, we would know him. That's why I'm bringing the hadith to you.
Wait a second. Allah will come to them in a shape other than they know. Then they will seek refuge against
Allah will come to them in a shape other than they know and will say, I am your Lord. And they will say, we seek refuge with Allah from you. Other than they know.
So they don't recognize it right there the first time, right?
Yeah. The hadith is saying,
if they don't recognize it the first time, it's a shape that they did not recognize. Then the next sentence says this. Allah will come to them in a shape, in a form that they do know. So there's two forms that he comes in. One that they don't recognize, the other one that they do recognize. It's two forms he comes in.
Yeah, the hadith doesn't say that they didn't recognize the first time.
Yes, it does.
That they didn't recognize. Here, look. The shape, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
The Lord will come to us and we will recognize him. So
Other than they know.
didn't recognize him.
Hello. First time is it is in a shape or form that they don't know. In the second time, he is coming, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is coming with a shape and form that they know. So they will recognize.
So how many shapes?
So there are multiple. There are multiple stages. Hello.
Good.
Multiple stages.
So how many shapes is that? A shape that they don't know, and then a shape that they do know. How many shapes is that?
So one shape they don't know, other than other than the shape that they don't know, and a shape that they know. So there are multiple stages, but the key point is that we would have seen him, we would have recognized him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Here's my question. Here's my question. Here's my question. Here's my question. Should be super easy.
Okay, go ahead, please.
He comes in a shape that they don't know. Then he comes in a shape that they do know.
Yeah.
How many shapes is that?
So I have to think, because it is saying that one shape we would understand and another shape we would don't understand.
It's simple. It's simple math.
Okay, son.
You know this.
Listen, son. The answer is 5. So if Johnny got 2 apples and his friend gave him 3 apples, how many apples do he get?
12.
Listen, maybe you didn't hear me. I say the answer is 5.
Right. So how many shapes is that? One you don't understand, the other you do understand. How many shapes is that?
The shape is still, but one shape is still one shape. One shape we would understand, another no.
So how many shapes is that? One you don't recognize, then another you do recognize. How many shapes is that?
Only one shape, well, 2 shapes, but we would understand one and the other not.
Okay, good.
One.
So good.
There would be multiple stages.
I got you. I understand.
Multiple stages.
I got you.
One shape we would understand, but Allah is only one. Allah is. It's not making Allah 2. That look, it is making Allah 2 like that.
No worries. I got you. So he
We would
comes.
understand it.
I got
another
you.
shape we would not.
I got you. So he comes in 2
It
shapes.
is not making Allah 2.
I'm not saying that, Omar.
I know this. Bro, I know this. It is not making Allah 2. One shape, the same Allah, one shape we would understand, and another shape we would not understand. How is that hard?
Okay, we're on the same page. I'm not saying that this makes Allah 2. I'm not saying that. Okay.
Yeah.
So all we recognize now is that there's 2 shapes that Allah appears in. Beautiful.
Yep.
Now here's my question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
How, when they see the second shape, how will they recognize that second shape? How is it that they recognize that second shape and say, that's who Allah is?
Because we would have seen him already.
When?
Before. There are multiple stages in one form multiple stages, right? First time, second time, third time, maybe multiple times.
Where's the first time?
So this hadith is literally speaking in one shape that we would understand, and another shape we would not understand. But the point is, the same one Allah, in one point we would understand because we would have seen him before, and another shape that we would not recognize because we would have not seen him before.
Mansoor, listen.
Yes.
When do they see him the first time?
The hadith doesn't say that. When we would see the first time. The first time, look, the point is that if your main point is that, like, for example, how many shapes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals himself, that is up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Maybe multiple shapes.
We already saw 2. So he has 2 shapes that he appears in. We already got past that.
It doesn't negate other shapes as well, because in the first time
other shapes that he comes in.
So I'm giving you the example, right? Here's the point. In one shape, we would understand him. Why? Because we would have seen him before. In another shape,
so tell me. I want to know when. I want to know when. When do you see that shape before? When did you see Allah's shape before this?
Does the hadith say so?
No, the hadith only mentions 2 times that you see Allah.
Does the hadith say so?
The hadith only says you see Allah twice.
Yeah. So does the hadith say first time? Does the hadith say
the first time? Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
The hadith says that the first time that they see Allah, they didn't recognize the form that he
That's
came
not
in.
referring. That is referring to
time they see.
That is referring to the point that we would not recognize him. It doesn't say that it's the very first.
I know. Mansoor, listen.
Okay.
Listen. You're follow me. The first time that they see Allah, he comes in a form that they don't recognize. The second time they see Allah, they see him, they see his form that they do recognize. So my question is, since they didn't recognize him the first time, How is it that they're recognizing this particular form?
Did you listen to what I was saying? What did you hear from me? What did you understand what I said before? Please give me the answer.
You just
I
keep
want to understand what you
you just keep repeating that
No.
one time they
No,
didn't
no, no,
recognize
I'm
him, the
not
other time
repeating.
they did.
Bro,
So I'm asking you now, how did they
Please make my
recognize
screen bigger.
that second form?
Can you please make my screen bigger? I want to show the hadith to everyone.
Okay.
My screen bigger.
I hope this helps you answer the question.
Make my screen bigger. The hadith doesn't say that. Let's
This is
read.
Islam, by the way, y'all. Allah comes in two shapes.
Okay, so it doesn't matter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showing himself to us in multiple ways. One shape we understand, another.
So he can
Bro,
show himself, he can
hold
show
on,
himself in
hold on.
multiple ways
Please
and
hold
become
on.
shapes and
Please hold
forms.
on.
But you have a
Hold
problem with
on.
Jesus taking on a human
Bro.
form.
No,
Interesting.
no, that's not the way.
Interesting.
That is not the way, because that's absolutely a false equation that you're doing. That is false equation.
Interesting, Mansoor. Interesting.
Let's go and read. Let's read. Where's the hadith? So you see him in your Lord. No, Allah's messenger said that you will see him. Your Lord on the day of resurrection. Similarly, Allah will gather the people and say, whoever used to worship those things, let me just go there. Used to worship the sun. So here the Muslims will remain, including the hypocrites, and Allah will come to them in the shape other than.
So this is the first time, right?
No, it doesn't say the first time. Where is the first time?
Okay, when do they see him before this?
Bro, can you please show me the first time?
Mansoor, that's the first time they see him.
Bro, can you tell me where does the hadith say that it's the first time? It doesn't say that.
It demonstrates that that's the first time they see him. It doesn't mention that they see him any time before
The
that.
first time, it is not there. Please stop making lies.
Oh my gosh.
Where is the hadith? Where does it say that?
Omar, does the hadith mention that
Where?
they see
No,
him
it
before,
does not say
before
that. Where is that? Where is that? Where's the first time?
I'm just asking, Omar.
Go ahead.
According to the
You asking
hadith,
me now?
Omar, I'm sorry, I'll call you Omar. Mansoor, according to the hadith, is there a time that they see Allah before he appears in that first form?
Yeah, but this hadith does not refer. Your main point is with this hadith. And
show me
everybody, focus. Everybody, folks,
Come on,
pay
man.
attention. The hadith does not say the first time.
Oh, so
We
it
would
has
have
to
seen
be
him
the first
before.
time for it to be the first time.
It
Got
doesn't
it.
say that. It doesn't say that. Look, so let me just read it for you. Our Lord. So,
This is crazy, man.
Allah grant us. Let's go there. The hadith doesn't say that, bro. Is that the whole point that you're doing? Subhanallah.
So Mansoor.
Hold on, please. Hold on.
Where is the first mention of them seeing Allah?
Yeah, the hadith doesn't say that. The hadith absolutely doesn't say that it's the first time.
What? So I'm asking you, according to the hadith, what is the mention of when they see him the first time?
Yeah, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say that the first time.
You're being incredibly dishonest right now, my friend. Like,
bro,
this is really tough. This is tough.
Can you, everybody, folks, pay attention. Does the hadith say that they Muslims will remain the hypocrites and Allah will come in the shape of other than they know? So this could be referring to the next time, and it is saying other than they know. How can a person?
It's not referring to the next time. Oh my gosh, Mansoor.
GodLogic.
Mansoor, wait a second, Mansoor, because you gotta be honest with the text, my friend. Please, I'm begging you to be honest with the text. When it mentions that Allah will come to them in a shape other than they know.
So first time they know.
Let me finish. Does the hadith mention a time before that point that they see Allah?
The hadith is saying other than they know. So they know already. GodLogic, can you give me a little bit chance? 1 minute.
I didn't ask that. I asked, does the hadith mention A
We
time that
already
they've
know
seen
that.
Allah before that point.
Yes, because we would have seen him before. We would have seen him before, and that form,
Okay.
that would not be the first one. The hadith
Okay.
doesn't say that.
Got it. Got it. Okay. We'll go with your interpretation. So according to you,
The hadith
they
doesn't
have
say
seen.
that.
Hold on. They've seen Allah before. They've seen Allah before, and so
Yeah.
this is actually the second time that they're seeing him, in
Yeah.
which he appears to them in a form different than they saw him the first time.
Yes, exactly.
So they're saying this isn't Allah.
Mhm.
Okay. So when did they see this form? The
So
first.
before, because we would have already met him before, and we
When?
would have known.
Can you
Look,
show me the source?
the source is that this is self-explaining to you. Look, how beautiful is this? Other than they know, other than in a shape, Allah will come to them in a shape other than they know.
Can
If
you show
other than
me?
they know, if this, bro, come on, this is very other than they know. How can that person know something if they haven't seen?
Because
They
it's
would have
what?
definitely,
Because I'll tell you how.
they
It's
would have
because it's
definitely
what
met him before.
humans are familiar with. If
They would have
humans are
definitely,
familiar with certain shapes and certain forms, and Allah it comes to them in something that is recognizable to them, then they can then that's the case. It doesn't necessitate that they've seen Allah before, therefore they're seeing him again, and it's not the same as they saw him the first time.
yeah. So this
So I'm
is the
asking you,
paragraph. Everybody,
if they've seen him
pay
before,
attention.
this is what I'm asking you. If they saw Allah before this, before he came to them in a shape that they don't know, I need the source that backs this interpretation up. Because I've never heard this, I've never even seen a scholar mention this. So where are you getting this from, that this is talking about a time that they saw Allah before this?
Bro, now give me time. 1 minute, okay? I'm not taking a lot of time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will come in a shape other than they know. Definitely. They know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They would have met Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they will say, this time, look, this is very self-explanatory. Let me just read it for you first. Allah will come to them in a shape other than they know, and will say, I am your Lord. They will say, we seek refuge with Allah from you. It is our place, and we will not follow you till our Lord comes to us, and when our Lord comes to us, we will recognize him. We will recognize him. So definitely they would have met Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala this time coming in a way, in a shape, in a form
When will
that
when will they
is
see? When
different
would they
from
have
the
seen
first
him?
one.
When would they have seen him?
Before, but it doesn't say the first time.
Before what? When?
It
I'm
does
asking
not say the
when.
first time.
Okay.
The word, the
Is
hadith doesn't say the first time.
hold
This is
on.
not the first time,
Is
please.
is this the day of resurrection? Is this the day of judgment?
Yes, the day of
Okay, so
judgment
you're
is not only
saying
one day.
that
That is
humans, you're
50,000
saying,
years old.
okay,
50,000 years.
you're saying that these humans would have seen Allah before the day of judgment.
No, the day of judgment is not only one day. It is like, that is 50,000 years.
The day of judgment
That's
is
not,
50,000 years?
yeah, that's a very long day. It's not like one day, like 24 hours. This is speaking. The hadith does not say this is the first time. That is your main argument.
No,
That
it's
is your
not my
main
main
argument, and
argument.
the hadith doesn't say that.
So, okay, so the day of judgment, ladies and gentlemen, is 50,000 years now. I was today years old when I learned this.
Yes, that is mentioned in the
This is
Quran.
beautiful. So,
That is mentioned in the Quran, bro.
so this is actually my this is my main point with this, Mansoor. This is my main point with this, actually.
That is mentioned
Because
in the Quran.
you said that Allah does not take on shapes or forms, angel, because he's not comparable to, he's unlike anything in creation.
No. False accusation. Stop.
That's what you
That is
said.
a false accusation. That is a false accusation. First of all, angels are not comparable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I told you in the beginning. Why?
How are
Because
they not?
angels, look, angels are created being, and they're in there. And if you are equating
Not
this with
saying
angels,
anything.
hold on. Give me one time. 1 minute or two. Because you spoke a lot. First, you made a
No,
point.
I didn't.
You were
I didn't even speak
look,
a lot.
God, this is a false. This was the false point that you were making. You were improving or portraying this hadith in a way. This is the. Okay, let me. You were portraying this hadith as if this was the first time, but the hadith does not say this is the first time. The hadith doesn't say that this is the first time. Another point that you were saying, that how many shapes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes on the day of judgment, that belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Well, according to you, it's many.
Please correct me. Please correct me later. Or if you want to refute, please refute it later. Okay? Can I have the time? Can I have it?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. They would have understood Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before. They know, they're saying, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will come in this point in a shape that they don't know. And they are saying, we seek refuge to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes to us, we would recognize him. So it is definitely, we would have already met him before. It is saying that we would have already met him before. Another point, it's saying, another point.
No, come on. You're making way too many. I got to cut in now. So,
but this is a kind of disingenuous.
According to you, the day of judgment is 50,000 years, and he appeared to them in form before the forms that we saw in the hadith. So, how many forms does Allah appear in?
Multiple. It belongs to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How many times he appears?
Got you. Good. So Allah can appear in many forms. So this is what I brought you here for a purpose. You said, before I brought you to the hadith, and Omar confirmed it for me, that you said that Allah does not take on a form, does not appear in a form or a shape, because he's not like anything in creation. And so I brought you here to show you that what you were saying was false according to your sources. That Allah actually does. No. When I'm done. That Allah actually does take on forms, does take on shapes, and in fact, but according to you, he takes on many shapes and forms, many of them according to his will. So just like angels can appear in a human form and appear in these different shapes and forms, so does Allah appear in many shapes and forms, many of them, not just one, but many of them. So here's my question, my final question with this one. If Allah wanted to,
hold on. I have points. You gave me points. Let me respond to that.
All right, you can respond to that, and then you look. I'm gonna ask my question, but you don't have to answer it immediately.
Bro, please come on.
I'm being fair.
Be ingenuous, okay? Be ingenuous here.
Fair.
Don't be disingenuous.
I'm gonna ask my question, but in your response, I'm gonna let you respond to my points, and then you can get to my question when you're done responding.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Okay. So my final question with this is, if Allah wanted to, could he take on a human form if he willed? That's my question.
Human form, to become a human being, also taking the nature of human being?
Could he take on the form of a human being?
That is logically impossible.
Same form.
That is logically impossible, because taking a human nature, as you Christians are saying,
I didn't say nature. I said form.
Give me time, bro. Give me time.
I know, but I want you to answer what I'm asking. Not don't answer something I'm not asking. Answer what I'm asking. If Allah wanted to, can he appear in a human form?
Can I have enough time to finish my point?
Yes, go ahead.
Would you please not interrupt me?
Go ahead. I just make sure you answer what I asked, you know? Don't talk about something I didn't ask.
First of all, because you made 2 points. Another point was that is referring to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You made a false statement that this is the first time. Hold on. You made a false statement that this was the first time. It is not the first time. The hadith doesn't say this is the first time. That was the first time. Another point is the shape of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when he appears, that is also uncreated. That is uncreated. That befits his majesty. Bro, give me time enough.
No, I'm letting you go. I'm just like, wow.
The attributes are of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are uncreated. Hello, that is uncreated. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not taking like human shape or forms. Why? Because Christians believe that God took human nature. So God became a man, 1 point, so God became not God. That is not what we believe. That is a false equation that you are saying. We are not saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will become the creation. That is a false statement that you are making in extracting information, equating with Jesus Christ. That is not true. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is uncreated. The way that befits his majesty is also uncreated, that is revealing himself to human beings. Second point. Third point is your question, that you're saying that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala appears in a human being, as a human being, hold on, please don't interrupt me.
Just make sure you get it right.
Equating that with Jesus Christ, that Jesus appeared as a human being, so he was God and not God at the same time. That is not working in Islam. That is not working. Hold on.
I'm sorry. I have to cut you here because you're strawmanning me. I'll ask the question again and then let you go.
Bro.
I'll ask the question again because I don't want you to get it wrong. If Allah wanted to, could he appear in a human form?
In whatever form he wants, that is not mentioned in the Quran, nor is it mentioned in the Hadiths. So what has been mentioned to us, we believe in those things. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have said that, look, I'm going to appear myself as a human being, then I would have definitely told you, yes, he does. But if it's not in the text, I'm not going to give you false things and inventing new things in my religion. I'm not doing that. Simple as that.
Okay.
Go ahead, please.
Here's my question again. It's really a yes or no.
Yeah, go ahead.
If Allah wanted to, could he appear in a human form? Yes or no?
That belongs to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which has not been revealed to us.
If Allah willed it, again, if Allah willed it, could he take on the form of a human, appear in the form of a human, yes or no?
Again, it has not been revealed to us. So it is not a yes or no question.
Wait. Are there limits to Allah's will?
Are there what?
Are there limits to Allah's will?
So, to the will of Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has only his own divine will. So it belongs to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But it is not said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has different wills, that he's changing.
I didn't ask that. I asked, is his will limited, bro? Like, why did you answer a straight question? Is his will limited, yes or no?
Uncreated, unlimited. Uncreated, unlimited.
Thank you. Yep. So if Allah willed, could he take on a human form? Yes or no?
If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala willed, so could he take in the human form or not? Has not been revealed to us in the text.
Oh my gosh, you are refusing to answer this question.
It has not been revealed to us. It has not been revealed to us. Come on, bro, you know this. It has not been. If something is not mentioned in the Bible. Look, hold on. Hold on. GodLogic. GodLogic. Bro, it has not been mentioned. If something is not mentioned in the text, if something is not mentioned in the text,
ask me the same question. Ask me the same question.
Because you already believe that a human being, he revealed himself.
Ask me the same question, Mansoor. I'm gonna show you how easy it is.
Okay. Can your God reveal himself in Satan, to become Satan?
You didn't ask you didn't ask the same question that I asked you, my friend.
Can your God become Satan? This is my question.
So this shows the dishonesty in your approach.
Bro, answer the question.
This shows the dishonesty and the desperateness of your approach. Come on,
GodLogic. Can your God become Satan? Go ahead. You told me to ask the question.
You're better than this, bro.
Can your God become Satan?
You're better
than this. Can
your
God become Satan?
Okay, so how about this? Let's
answer the question. Yes or no? Can your God become Satan?
Let's do this. Since you won't answer the question.
Bro, answer the question. Folks, pay attention. He's running. He told me to answer the same question.
I let you go for like 3 minutes.
You won't answer the question. Wallahi, he told me.
So I have another one for you.
Hold on.
You said that the form.
Pay attention. He's running.
You said that the form. You said that the
running.
form.
He's running.
Hold on, Mansoor.
He's not answering the question.
Hold on, come on, man.
Now I'm asking you, can your God become Satan?
Come on, we can't. Nobody can hear us.
Can your God become Satan? Answer the question. Can your God become Satan?
No one can hear us.
Answer the question. Can your God become Satan?
So I'm gonna talk. I'm hoping that you respect me.
Answer my question. Can your God become Satan?
I'm gonna talk, and I hope that you mute up.
Okay, go ahead.
So Mansoor, you said that the forms that Allah appears in are uncreated.
Yes.
Uncreated forms that he appears in. Okay. Here's my question, Mansoor. Since you couldn't answer the first one that I asked you, let's see if you can answer this one. If the forms that Allah appeared in are uncreated, which form does he exist in right now?
We already went through that. And also, this has not been mentioned in the Quran nor in the Hadiths. It has not been mentioned.
Which
It
form
has been.
is he in? Which form is he
It
in right
has not
now?
been mentioned. It has
Which
not been
form?
mentioned.
It's not mentioned?
It has not been mentioned in the Hadith or nor
Okay,
the Quran.
okay. I got you. So
Okay, go
if it's not mentioned, okay, no problem. So you don't know what form Allah is in right now.
Yeah, we got.
I got you. But he has many uncreated forms.
He appears. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will appear to
No,
human
but you
beings
said
in multiple forms.
that these forms are uncreated.
Okay.
So here's my question.
Go ahead.
Since these forms are uncreated, these many forms are uncreated, are these forms Allah?
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he appears, that is in a way that he himself is revealing. That is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealing himself in that specific form to human beings. How is that is my form me? What kind of question is that?
Yeah, so again, you can't answer it. Is the form that Allah appears in, is that Allah?
Yeah, that is not a question because it is not being mentioned in the Quran. Because if there was mentioned that the form of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is he himself, so it definitely says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will appear in this specific form. So that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay,
that
good.
The people would know him. So that form is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself, right? The form that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is appearing. But the the text doesn't say that. The text does not say the specific question that you are asking.
But I got you. But you gave me an inference. You inferred that the form is Allah because he appears in this form. So it is Allah. It's himself. Okay. And so he appears in multiple forms. And these forms are uncreated. So all of these forms are Allah. All of these forms are uncreated. So are all of these forms coexistent?
These forms, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to appear or reveal himself, that belongs to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Again, this has not been mentioned in the Quran nor in the Hadith.
Tell me what you know.
There was a magic bullet. It was forged by Illuminati mystics to prevent us from learning the truth.
Have it your way. This will continue until I break you.
You're asking the question which is not mentioned.
Are these forms
coexistent? That is not mentioned in the Hadith. Not revealed. I told you. Look, I told you that I will give you the answers from the Hadiths, for example, which are mentioned in the Hadiths, and also in the Quran.
So you don't know? So you don't know?
I don't know about that because it has not been mentioned in the Quran or the Hadith.
That's fine. So this is where the problem comes, because you have a problem with the Trinity, but you have created a way bigger problem than a Trinity. You have
come on, bro.
Entities.
Come on. You lie so much.
So for example, hold on. But you said that Allah appears in these forms. Each form is Allah, and each form is uncreated. And guess what? Each form is different than the other. So each form is distinct from the other, yet each form is Allah.
The point of the matter
if they're
is
uncreated, if each form is uncreated, then that means they exist simultaneously. If Allah is each form, and each form is not the same as the prior, then you have distinct forms existing in one Allah. One essence, many forms. So what is your problem with the Trinity, with one essence, with three underlying realities, when you believe in the one God that has many forms that are uncreated and eternal? Okay.
I want to respond to that. I will refute that. Okay. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed his revelations, right? The attributes. The attributes is something, for example, that the Torah was the revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also, the Injil was the revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Quran is also the revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another point is, so are they exactly the same thing? No. Are they the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Yes. But one book, another book, another book, but the same revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That does not make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala multiple persons. That the Torah was belonging to another person, the Injil was referring to another God, and also the Quran is referring to another God. These are all the revelations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The forms that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be revealing to his Muslim believers, that is not making Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala two persons. But the problem with the Trinity is, that you believe that God is two persons or three persons. Like one is God the Father, another is God the Son, another is God the... We are not saying that one form is also Allah, the second form is also another person who is not the first Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is revealing himself in multiple forms. But these forms are not making Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala multiple persons. The problem with the Trinity is that your God is three persons, which is not the other. One is dependent on the other, another is dependent on the first one. The problem with the Trinity is the multiplicity of the persons. The forms that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is appearing himself on the day of judgment, that is not multiple persons. Your God is multiple persons, but our God is not multiple persons. Our God, one Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala appearing himself in multiple forms, is not making Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala multiple gods. That is the difference. That is the difference.
I got you. So you're a modalist.
Yeah.
So let me tell you how you're a modalist now, and now how you can play.
Modalist is in the Christianity. I'm a Muslim.
I'll tell you. For example, modalists in Christianity, they say that they don't believe in the Trinity. They don't believe that God is three persons, but they believe that God has three forms or three modes. Just like what you just described. Hold on. One second.
GodLogic.
I let you talk.
Modalism goes to the Christians. I'm not a Christian.
I let you talk. So look, you said, for example, let me tell you the mistake that you made. Mansoor, didn't I let you talk?
Come on, bro. Come on. You're just long. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So Mansoor, here's the mistake that you made. You brought up the examples of Allah's attributes, his knowledge, his speech, his mercy, and all these kind of things, his power, stuff like that. And you said he has these different attributes, but that doesn't mean that there's, just different Allahs or whatever. Here's where you made the mistake, because you would not say that Allah is his knowledge, or Allah is his speech, or Allah is. I said, wait, is Allah his knowledge?
The attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is distinct. That is not that we are saying that, for example,
it's simple. Is Allah his knowledge? It's simple. Is Allah his knowledge?
Knowledge belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Exactly. So he's not, he himself is not the knowledge, right?
That is the attribute of Allah. The knowledge of Allah is not another Allah.
Mansoor,
the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not another Allah. What are you talking about, bro?
I know.
Come on.
You're literally making the point that I just said.
I'm recording it. I will post it. I will post it.
You have every right to post it. Every right to post it. Because you literally said what I said. So relax. You don't need to be in panic mode. Just relax. You said.
I never said that the knowledge of Allah.
I'm gonna have to mute you, man. You keep talking when I talk.
Come on, bro. Be honest. Go ahead.
I don't want to have to mute you, man. Let's keep it going. So you said you said Allah's knowledge is not Allah, and just because he has these different attributes doesn't mean there's different Allahs or whatever. There's a plurality of Allahs, right?
Yeah,
now, right? Because Allah is not his knowledge. Allah is not his speech. Allah is not his power. He's distinct from he possesses these things. However, here's the difference. You said that the forms that Allah appears in, he is the forms. That's what you said. So when you went to the analogy of his attributes, that was a bad analogy and it was not fitting to what we were talking about. You made the mistake of saying Allah is the forms that he appears in. So when Allah appears in a form that they do not know, that's Allah. And then when Allah appears in a form that they do know, which is different than the Allah that appeared the first time, that's Allah. So you have two Allahs. And then, but then you said,
No,
but then
what
you
are you
said,
talking about?
let
Are
me
you
finish.
mad?
Let me finish. But then you said he appears in many forms. And you said that Allah is his forms. So there's many Allahs. There's many Allahs. Yet it's Allah. So you have all of these distinct Allahs that are uncreated, that are coexisting, and yet there's still Allah. So it's Allah with many forms. So how many Allahs do you have? There's you literally have, like, we can keep it as simple as this. You have demonstrated that your criticism against the Trinity is not only incoherent but hypocritical, because you believe that Allah is his forms and his forms are distinct from each other. Therefore, you have distinct Allahs.